Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Rich. Today, what am I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about recession and what happens to your investments during recession, and should you be concerned about recession? And I'm going to talk about ideas of where you should invest. What are recession-proof industries or sectors which are considered recession-proof? Then finally, we'll talk about what should you do with all this information I give you. What should you do now with your investment? So this is the basic premise of this video. So what is a recession? Recession is nothing but like the economy catching a cold. All of us have had a cold. You have it for a few days, then you get over it. Most likely you'll get over it. Unless you have some other underlying condition. Or if it turns out to be that you've got a COVID. In case of COVID, then it's different. But generally speaking, most general colds, if you're a hale and healthy person, you suffer for a few days, it gets terrible, then you get through it and your body fights back and you get on with it. That's how the recession is. It is like the economy catching a cold, and it sneezes and it groans and moans for a little bit, and then we get through it and we get into the recovery phase. The last big recession was a pandemic recession, which was caused due to the pandemic lockdowns and travel restrictions and supply chain disruptions, which led to an immediate recession, which was thankfully landed short, severe recession, then a long, prolonged, which could have gone into a depression through the timely intervention of the government and most of the reserve banks across the globe, federal banks across the globe, when they stepped in and they infused $15 trillion in various forms and stages. It averted a severe recession and it lasted in a short, brief period, and the stock market bounced back. The one before that was the 2007-2008 Great Recession, as it's called. It wasn't a depression. It almost led to a depression. Again, the Fed stepped in and the American government stepped in and stabilized the markets and infused a lot of money, and it recovered. And that recovery, I would say, recovered from 2009, 2010, 11, it recovered. And then we've been in one of the longest prolonged Goldilocks period, as Kesa would like to say, where everything was good. Numbers were good, earnings were good, salaries were good, you name it, in all aspects, things were good, and continued being good because of the simple reason we've gotten so used to free cash. Governments kept supplying and enabling cash because politicians wanted to stay in power. Nobody wanted to bite the bullet and stop it, and this free cash flow kept coming and coming and coming. And since inflation had not picked up at all, everyone was initially worried about an inflationary spiral due to the infusion of cash. But that spiral did not happen. Led to a lot of hubris and a lot of economists saying we have controlled and we have tamed inflation forever. Inflation is not a problem of the past. We have no more inflation ever. Then, of course, all that didn't turn out to be true, and things went sideways after 2019. So, why am I talking about this? The reason why I'm talking about this is last year, a lot of people did expect a hard recession, a hard landing, as they say. Then towards the end, they said it will be a soft landing. Now, the stock's off. There is not going to be any severe recession. This is what people in the markets are saying. And they're talking about a lot of money waiting in the sidelines, which is going to be deployed, which is going to enter the market because a lot of people have been waiting for the right moment, and the right moment has come. Anand did speak about this, that there is no money sitting on the sidelines and things are not as rosy as they seem to be. And there is no real motivation for the Fed to reduce interest rate as of now, because if you do agree with everything being hunky-dory, there is no motivation for the Fed to decrease the interest rate or cut the interest rates as they say it. So taking this all into consideration, this coming year is going to be a tricky year to see what happens. Even the Fed is going to wait and watch. We as investors have to wait and watch. And in case the worst case scenario happens and we do get a slight recession or a prolonged recession, what should you do? Well, there are certain sectors which are famously known for being recession proof. And these sectors I wanted to briefly hit upon and tell you which are these sectors are the ones which usually tend to be recession proof. So there is sectors which are considered recession proof First is household staples. Household staples include like what all we consume on a daily basis. Companies like Procter & Gamble, Unilever, they are the companies which produce most of these household staples like detergent, soaps, makeup, you name it. Anything which is consumed by us human beings and in our household on a regular basis, these guys produce deodorants. A lot of food is produced by these guys. And the next, I would say, recession-proof sector would be the heritage and luxury brands. Most luxury brands and like watches and Designer goods and designer fashion seem to be recession proof because those demands never seem to dip. Because most people who are in those echelons who can afford these kind of luxury goods, their investments are such that they're recession proof, as they say. Most billionaires don't worry about a recession because they do know that a recession can be a temporal effect and you ride through it and doesn't stop them from spending their money in luxury goods. So that sector and those companies seem to be doing very well. The third sector is a sector which a lot of people hate investing in, which are the vice sectors. Vice sectors are your gambling, your alcohol, and your cigarettes. In India, we don't have gambling, so we have alcohol and cigarettes are the two sectors which are considered vice. That's all your spirits, like your United Breweries, and other companies such as your ITCs, which are your cigarette companies. Then the other sector which is recession proof is healthcare. No matter how bad the economy is doing, people still have requirement for a doctor. They have a requirement for hospitals. So anything which is pharmaceutical or hospital related or lab related would do well because those requirements are still need to be met, and those industries seem to be doing well and they don't suffer a shock of a recession. Strangely, this would be a surprise to a lot of people. Budget travel seems to be doing well during recession because most people can't afford to go into their usual spend on a travel, so they downgrade themselves into budget travel. So a lot of budget hotels and budget travel usually tend to do well in recession. I personally have not seen this because my analysis of these two recessions, the one 2008, 2007, 2008, and this recent pandemic recession, can't be used to see through those two recessions. You can't use the lens to see this budget travel, but maybe you can roll back a few more years and see. I don't know. This is something worth investigating. And of course, the last one, which is always recession proof, is utilities. We all still need to have our lights on, we need to have our mobile phones on, and our internet working. So that utility sector is always recession proof. So if you are looking at something recession proof, these are the sectors which you should look at, and you should look at companies which are in these sectors. And if you're even in the US or if you're in India, looking at these sectors, for this coming year, if you're looking at investing in the long term, maybe you can look at different coffee levels in these companies, and staying in these companies would make sense in case there is a recession. And if there is no recession, regardless, these companies tend to do well. Your Unilever, your Procter and Gamble, all of these companies tend to do well regardless. If there is no recession, they will do well. And even if there's a recession, the recession doesn't seem to affect them as much as it affects the other companies. So this is what I want to tell you. So now a lot of you will ask me, why am I bothered about this? You tell me to invest in the long term, I should not worry about it. And if this is recession is only for a short term, so why are we even talking about it? I just have to keep investing and I forget about it, right? That's true. But if you don't know about recession and what is happening, and suddenly you see a stock portfolio dipping by 5-10%, it might suddenly give you pangs in your heart. We're all human beings at the end of the day. If you see your for 1 lakh or 10 lakh rupees becoming 5 lakhs or 6 lakhs, you might suddenly panic. So I want you to understand what is happening and why you should not panic and worry about it and continue investing. 2, the other reason why you should know about recessions and if recessions are coming is if you're planning to take a loan, if you're planning to do any big purchase, which is a requirement of a loan, I would tell you to pause and wait till this period is over, because recession does cause disruption in interest rates. It causes disruption in employment in job markets, so you can lose your job, your loans can become more costly. So if you can wait for a year or two for this purchase or taking this loan, maybe it's prudent to wait it out and get more clarity before you go ahead and do this. This is the reason I wanted to touch upon what recession is and recession proof investing. And if you want more information, I've written an article about this in my Medium page, which is more extensive with more details about companies and sectors and how to look at it and a little bit of history behind it. And you can have a read, and maybe you can drop me a comment and I'll talk about it more with you on one-to-one in Instagram or in Twitter or in LinkedIn. Thanks for watching.
It's a great privilege and honor that so many of you in thousands have subscribed to my channel and have supported me. I have written 2 books in English, The Alchemy of Money and Ordinary Stocks, Extraordinary Profits. These books are published by us and are ready. If you want to procure a copy, send us a message to the WhatsApp number given below and my team would respond to you. If you want an Amazon Kindle copy, you can click the link below. Finally, those who wish to consult with me can send a mail to berichenglish@gmail.com. Once again, I thank you for your support. If you like this video, press the subscribe button of my channel, hit the like button and turn on the bell notification.